Bob from Georgia here with you, aka VHS82 apostrophe, with our ongoing 31 days of horror. Happy Halloween, happy October. It's almost, man, it's coming down. Hate it, man, hate it. It's like Christmas, man. The build-up's so great, and then the day after is like... Anyhow, let's talk about the one that everyone loves to hate. Rob Zombie's direct follow-up to his own remake of John Carpenter's classic, Halloween 2. A No 9 film. Again, I mentioned this yesterday, if you saw, but this was Five Below. Couldn't believe the bulk they got in, and so I went and revisited the theatrical edition last night, and God, I love this too, man. Look at this, man. Yes, I am an H2 enthusiast. I'm an apologist. I am everything about H2. And I'll get into reason. Even getting the German edition, I just love the artwork. Although the artwork here is pretty classic. I got a disc falling around in here. That's not good. But yeah, gotta love. So, I guess the first thing when you're talking about this, the thing that we got to remember is this movie would not be what this movie is if it wasn't for the Weinsteins saying no to his... How do you say no? Look, I'm making you a movie. They already know it's going to make a mill, okay? It's going to bring in what it needs to bring in or more. Rob's offering to shoot the sequel simultaneously. Film 1, one Halloween. Film 2, the second Halloween. His film first, the nod to John's film second. And then you have a perfect opportunity at a third piece. Maybe the thing that is hurt the most by not granting his vision is, say, the loss of Doug Farrick, who played the young Michael Myers. You would have still had him there. Now, it said that when they went to shoot scenes for H2, he was just growing too fast, and it just didn't, for continuity's sake, it just didn't make sense. And so they went with the other one. But see, look, if he's going to shoot 2 movies for you and save you a zillion tons of money, and you're still going to make back, could you imagine how much money? Okay, instead of getting one Halloween film that has two pieces crammed together, that makes it feel like, and no one understands why, because no one goes to look why. You got the money that his first film's going to make, because everyone is going to be curious, like, Rob Zombie's Halloween, what is this? And it's his movie. And then you're left with the breakout scene. Michael's walked off from the sanitarium, and you're like, my God, oh yes, sign me up. I'm here 1 year from now for Halloween, which is his tipping of the hat to John Carpenter's classic. That movie probably does better than the first one. And the first one made tons of money. And now suddenly you've got 2 successful films, and you have an opportunity to do a third piece and maybe a capstone effect that in some ways maybe does look like this in some ways. I mean, these ideas are already in him, right? Why do I love H2, man? Just like Devil's Rejects, from House to Devil's Rejects, from Halloween to H2, he goes back to 16 millimeter. Aesthetically, the opening scene, I so freaking love how it looks, with the rain falling on the town street at night, with the street lights, and Laurie just kind of walking, and then you got the flashing of Brackett's car coming. It just looks grainy. It looks like we're about to descend into a nightmare. The aftermath of how the first film ends allows itself to just become this nightmarish thing. And it opens up with a nightmare. And then much of the film is nightmare logic steeped in almost, dare I say, a Fulcian type logic way. There are scenes in there that make me really makes me wonder if Rob wasn't channeling a little bit of Fulci in the sense of just his nightmare logic. And I, quite frankly, I don't think it went far enough. I think the whole movie should have been balls to the wall, one endless, just one nightmare, man. And when it ends, you don't even know if you know, when the end credits begin, you don't even know if you're still in a nightmare or you're in reality. That to me would have been absolutely awesome. This whole hospital, you can say whatever you want to say. People hate it because it's a dream sequence, and so we've just invested all this time in a dream. Well, people say the same thing on how Nightmare City ends. I love how it ends. The whole looping idea, I think it's pretty freaking cool. I love the hospital sequence is so freaking awesome. Here's what I really love about H2. Look, in 18, you have Laurie's character, who is an even worse damaged product than what her role was in H2O. I think Scout Taylor Compton, I think she, in her acting, set the bar. Her and Danielle Harris, in terms of what can happen in the aftermath of something that traumatic. What Laurie goes through in Rob's film in H2 is so much more believable than Laurie. And look, I love Jamie Lee Curtis's character in Ends. I think that's what we should have had, okay? And maybe it should have descended from that point forward and not open up with her having, okay, all that stuff. You know that stuff. You cannot logically look at this film, really watch it, and tell me that Brad Dourif and Danielle Harris and Scout Taylor Compton don't freaking bring it. The scenes involving Margot Kidder and Scout, this is someone dealing with serious trauma, and her whole life, she is the good one whose life is now just a mess. Annie was the one who was a mess, not really, but I mean, and now she is a recluse. This is like the ultimate mind-bending sober, making you sober. And Brackett as the father figure to these damaged girls, and what he is put through, that scene involving him and when he finds Annie, the way, how can you not be invested in something? This is quality. I mean, I know there are elements of Rob Zombie's vision, his decision, creative decision, that just people don't like, they hate. I get it. At the same time, you can't throw out the baby with the bathwater, I guess, whatever that thing is. It is H2 at its best is a nightmarish world of trauma and what people go through, and their relationship as it sort of eats at one another, and her nightmares that she, and a lot of this is probably med induced, because she's taken a zillion meds, and when they're taken away, of course, she descends into alcohol. And the whole scene with her in her car when she's reading the book that Loomis has written, and she realizes who she is. It's heart-wrenching. How can you not say it's... Look, I'm sitting in theater watching Rob's first film, Halloween. And it might have been the second viewing. And the scene when his mom commits suicide, somebody in the theater started laughing. I'm telling you, there is nothing that disturbs me more. Now, I guess if it's just a reaction because you just don't emotionally how to react, I guess I can give you something, but that didn't feel like that. It just felt like somebody was just really mocking. I don't know. Maybe I take film too serious. Maybe that's the problem. I am an H2 enthusiast, though. I love the nightmare quality, the nightmare logic. You've got alternate endings. Which one do I prefer? I love how they seemingly, when she walks out with the mask, holding the mask. And look, we've seen this stuff before. We've seen, whether in the 4 or 5 arc with Danielle Harris in 5, the whole mental connection. We've seen this stuff before. Rob wasn't doing anything new. Why do people freak out about him eating a dog when he ate a dog in the original freaking Halloween movie? But Rob is not, there's nothing new here. There's nothing new here. except Rob's unique sense of how he sees the world. And you may not like that, but that's how he grew up. Which I don't know what it's like to be a carny, but I mean, I do remember the 70s because I'm 53 years old. And when I hear Rob talk and in interviews and stuff, and I'm like, dude, we could have been friends, man. I mean, we would have got along, I think. We were both outcasts. He was an outcast in school. Isn't it funny that outcasts always seem to be the best givers of creativity and what they do in terms of being an artist, whether it's film, painting, whatever. You think of James Whale, man, The Old Dark House, man, The Invisible Man, Frankenstein Bride, all that he gave us, and he was an outsider. Outsiders just have this unique take, man. I love the nightmare-induced, just drenched with this nightmare logic. You know, when she wakes, and when she's in the coffin, shaking. I mean, that just, I don't think he pushed it far enough. I think he really should have just went, you know what? I'm going to tip my hat to Lucio Fulci, and I am just going to go balls to the wall, and I'm just going to do it. Look, it's already a head spinner for too many artists. So I mean, give those of us who would have just absolutely loved it as one of the greatest Halloween films ever, should have just went the distance and did it. But from the opening scene on the street, just tonally with the 16 millimeter, the score, just the acting, the relationships that we see, you know, and then, you know, even when Brackett realizes that Michael has finally, that, you know, it's finally happening. The other shoe has finally dropped. From that point forward, man, I don't know, man. I don't know what to say to the naysayers. You know, when you look at Halloween in its entirety, there's a lot that you can nitpick and not like. There are movies you don't like as much as others. I still think the creative team behind My Bloody Valentine, the script they had, bringing Tom Atkins back into the Halloween fold, pushing Rob's vision forward, but in a way tonally maybe more acceptable to the traditionalist, which I might count myself part of that. It's just maybe my age. There's something about Rob's sense of, look, I mean, when the ambulance carrying his body, and that's that whole scene at the house, man, when they pick his body up and put it back into the back of the ambulance, I mean, it's just like this monolith, monster, man. You know, when this thing wakes up, man, yeah, I don't know, man. The vulgarity, the gratuity of much of the violence, the nudity, I mean, I get how some people would be rubbed the wrong way in a lot of ways. But there's what he does with these actors, actresses, it really, look, Jamie Lee Curtis doesn't even come anywhere close to what Scout did in H2. Laurie, as far as I'm concerned, doesn't really begin to shine until Halloween Ends in terms of her character. In fact, I think her character in H2O is way more viable than it is in Halloween 18. I just don't know, man. I don't know what to say, man. I don't know what to say. I love the final moments where you're not sure if Laurie's in a sanitarium or if these are the last final glimpses of death as death is consuming her. I love the final look. It's really too bad we didn't get a third piece. And I don't know, man. It really is too bad. And it's really too bad that Rob has been hated on as much as he had. Because I really do think his Halloween it's easily in my top 5 of the greatest remakes ever. I don't care what anyone says. That's my 5. It's in there, okay? In terms of remakes, what it attempts to do, knowing what it could have been in light of the Weinstein saying no to his vision, it's just there, man. I just still think is it the greatest remake? No, of course not. It's not. But what it strives to do, I mean, Oh, come on. H2, man. It's Halloween time. We're all watching Halloween movies. What are you watching? What are your go-tos? You're about to see in the next few days my go-tos. What are your go-tos? Actually, you already saw one of them way back a little bit with Halloween 2. I love that sequel. I think it's one of the greatest sequels ever. Yeah, it's just, and how it ends in the hospital with, Michael, it's finished. I mean, it's great. Boom, right? It's just, Halloween has so much to offer. Just let me just end on a positive note. Halloween as a franchise has so much to offer. We have to agree on that. You can find a home. Anyone can find a home somewhere in the franchise. There is a place for you. There is a place for you. It might be in Daniel Harris's art 4, 5, 6. It might be in 1, 2. It might be in 3, and all that was leading towards, but never got to see it. The new trilogy, Rob's films. I don't know what to say, man. There is a place for everyone in this franchise. There is, everyone. So let's move on into these last couple of days. Enjoy your October. Enjoy Halloween. Look, it only comes once a year, right? So we got to do it up. I know I got Jack and Sally blow up things out in the yard now, and we don't go crazy with the decorations. I wish we could, but, you know, it costs money, right? But take another view of H2, the theatrical cut at least. And, yeah. Enjoy the rest of this month. As always, we end these things off with Go Bills.
This is not a dream. Not a dream.
We might be useful to you.